Welcome to another edition of the Rashad Mills Show that is courtesy of PowerPurposeRadio.com. I'm extremely fortunate, as always, to have another young entrepreneur in the community making positive moves. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brian Henderson.
How you doing out there? Brian Henderson, Creative Culture Lifestyle.
Man, you channeling your inner Barry White on us tonight, man. You got a singing background?
No singing background.
You sure? Man, with that kind of voice, man, I thought you were going to give us like a when you woo woo woo.
No, just trying to get the voice right. But I'm ready for whatever. How you feeling?
Man, I'm doing wonderful. First and foremost, man, I'd just like to thank God for another amazing opportunity. I was just telling Brian prior to the show, God allowed me to see 39. I know I look like I'm 21, maybe 25 at the worst, but I'm just happy for all the people that wish me birthday wishes. But more importantly, Brian, man, tell people about Creative Culture Lifestyle. So if somebody's from planet Mars and they're not familiar with you, please tell people about what you have going on.
So first and foremost, like I said, I'm Brian Henderson, CEO, janitor, marketing director, you name it, jack of all trades with Creative Culture Lifestyle. I really don't like to think of myself as a CEO only because I do it all. With this company, I established a company that focuses on the culture and the lifestyle of the bearded man. And it was a lane that just was untapped. You're a brother with a beard. We met with you purchasing some of my products. And that's the bearded culture. It's a culture of men that come together just based off of how we see each other with a beard. For a long time, it's been one of the things where if you had a beard in corporate America or any industry, people looked at you as if you were scruffy or you weren't well kept. But we know that's not true. So it's a respect factor there, and it was something that took me a while to accept growing my beard, being in corporate America for the number of years that I've been in, and it's something that I always wore as a badge of honor.
You make a really interesting point because for years there has been a stigma that if you have a beard, you're kind of maybe a biker. You kind of dance to your own tune, if you will. So
Exactly.
How were you able to bring that into corporate America and still find acceptance?
Well, the funny story was when I started, out of college, I started with Pfizer, which was a very conservative company. At the time, it was the number one pharmaceutical company in the world. And coming into it, when I interviewed, being a minority, being an African-American male, I was told, you already have, come in having to be better. So when I came in, they said, hey, you got to shave off, the little bit of beard that I did have then.
So did you?
The goatee, yeah, I did it all because at the end of the day, we all got to make sacrifices to open doors up for other people.
Absolutely.
So at 22 years old, who am I to look another African-American male that I look to as a mentor and say, nah, I'm not doing that. I'm not selling out. So,
Okay.
I cut it off. Followed everything to a T, and I was offered the position, which was an amazing accomplishment. Being 22 years old, working for a company like Pfizer, calling on doctors, cardiologists, nephrologists, all different specialties. So, it took a lot to get to that point. So I wasn't going to let my facial hair be the reason why not.
To interfere with that process.
But yeah, so facial profiling is real.
Say that term again. I like it.
Facial profiling is real. So, at the company we were at, nobody really had facial hair. And I mean, it was very few minorities to begin with. So, as a black male, we typically had facial hair. But the funny part about it, I lived in Philadelphia. So Philly is the home of the beard.
Okay.
So you in Philly, you walking around with no hair on your face. I mean, I felt like I was the police at times. Nobody
like you were alien.
Yeah, nobody would talk to me. Like, nah, dude, you
no facial hair. I can't talk to you.
Like I'm trying to meet women, and they're like, you don't have no facial hair.
Okay.
So it was like, I probably, it was all good. But like I said, I was 22, no beard, and then I remember when I got to a point where I was comfortable. And I started to wear, a shadow beard, shape it up nice. And my manager was like, that's a nice look for you. And I'm like, oh, really?
So that was the aha moment.
Yeah, that was
okay.
It was like, oh, really? So, but, I started to get more and more into my career. And once I knew that my work spoke for me, it didn't matter how my facial hair looked. Same as people who, show up who have locks, who have different styles and different ethnic styles. I feel like when you let your work speak for you, there's different things that you can do. But if you're not as tight or well-versed in what you do, that becomes a distraction.
So now that you've reached a certain level at the company, Pfizer, and it sounds like you're doing exceptionally well there, do you ever Do you ever go back and think and say, maybe I should have started this beer thing a little bit earlier?
Well, I'm not with that company.
Okay.
Since then, I have moved on to some more conservative companies. But it got to a point where I even started an interview where I still had a beard. That was my biggest thing. Like this position that I'm currently in now in sales, working as a sales consultant. I said to myself I wasn't going to shave my beard, and I kept it. I mean, it was much lower, but I still went in the interview. This is who I am, and this is what I stand for. Because it got to a point where I would shave everything off, but I wouldn't have my same swag. So to me, it was more about that's the creative culture lifestyle. It's about saying that I can still be professional. My resume, my experiences, everything I've done speaks for me, and my beard doesn't define who I am. It only enhances my look.
And give me that term. Man, give me that term one more time. Facial profiling.
Stop facial profiling.
Man, if I use that tomorrow, like, would I be sued for like a trademark or something? Man, I might use that tomorrow.
You can use it because that's one of the things with the creative culture lifestyle that we're trying to build up is that, even, in the workplace today, it's still companies and corporate cultures that you see CEOs and vice presidents. Nobody has any facial hair. I mean, you see managers and different people at different levels start to do it now, but it was to a point where, you just couldn't have a beard. Or if you grew a beard, it was only for No Shave November. A lot of guys want to be able to grow a beard, but they feel like in the industry they can't. A lot of people are military. They can't have facial hair in the military. So it's kind of not a buck the system type of thing. It's just more of a kind of, it's just a new day. It's like having tattoos. That's part of the creative culture lifestyle. If you want to tattoo your face, tattoo your face. Do what you do. But at the end of the day, you're going to be responsible for still being able to put food on your table or doing the things that make you happy, but live the life that you want to live. And that's the creative culture lifestyle. It encompasses everything under, being a bearded man, which is everything. Having a beard speaks to so many different avenues that in starting my company, I could have called it, Bearded Brothers, Bearded Lifestyle, Bearded Culture, whatever. Anything with the word beard in it. But I knew my vision was bigger than just a beard. So, that was the basis for everything that I started. It was a lifestyle, it's a culture. And under that lifestyle and that culture, there's apparel, there's hats, there's bracelets. I mean, there's a number of different things that, you see me wearing. My T-shirt, don't touch my beard. It's like women who have natural hair. You just can't walk up and just start playing in their hair. Our sisters not having that. So the same thing with bearded men. I've had a lot of people come up sometimes and just touch your beard and say, "Oh, it's soft."
What's your reaction when that happens?
I mean, I just think I don't want nobody's hands in my face. Period. Whether I got a beard or not. So it's kind of like disrespectful. It's kind of job disrespectful. I mean, some women think that they can get away with it because they're being flirty, but nah, I don't want your hands in my beard.
Because the hands might be dirty.
Yeah, hands might be dirty, and I don't even want you. It's like as a bearded man, you sculpt this. So it's like when I got my pick and I'm in the mirror and I'm doing what I do, I don't need you to come up and touch it and take some hairs out of place. Like, cause some people just come up and just grab it. Oh, it's so soft, and it's like whoa.
Typically, kids. I get that a lot from my kids. It's Daddy.
The kids love that. But that's the cool part about having a beard with the kids. I remember when my kids were small and babies and stuff like that, and they would just rub your facial hair. So that's like one of the things that kind of soothes them that, they know you're right. Right. So it's like if they reach over and they reach for daddy, they feel like, that facial hair.
Right. One of the things I want to talk about, I want to go back and really talk about the inception of your company, because you told me an interesting story. I'm a Morgan State student, and you went to, one of the premier schools here in Baltimore. Kind of tell us how you got to that point, because you went through some trials and, some tribulations. And one of the things here at Power Purpose Radio, I mean, we love to hear people that are thriving, but they had to go through something to get to that point. So kind of go back and tell people about that story.
Yeah, long before I was Mr. Fox 45, we had, I started out and I was at Poly, which is #1 high school in the city. Shout out to Poly, one of the best free educations you can get.
Now, some people in Baltimore City, they may say it's Silly College. I'm a Woodlawn High School grad, but I don't want the city people chasing you down after the show now. That's the point of contention for some people.
They can say what they want, but there's an article that was just recently published in the Baltimore Sun that looked at Poly as one of the top 5 schools in the state. City was nowhere to be on that. I didn't even see Woodlawn. Not even honorable mention.
Not Woodlawn?
Not Woodlawn.
You
not
on the
City.
show and you're not going to give Woodlawn a plug?
Hey, young Billy D went to Woodlawn. Shout out to young Billy D. He out there.
Okay.
That's my Fox 45 sidekick.
So there is some Woodlawn love. Okay.
Yeah, some Woodlawn love, but at the end of the day, Poly is the #1 school as far as academics is concerned with science, technology, engineering, and math. You know, before STEM was a big thing, Poly was already that.
Got you.
So as a student at Poly, you know, I didn't take it really serious. I was always smart. It was never a question of my aptitude or my ability to do the work. It was just more of maturity level. So when I was into my senior year, I had a 1.8 GPA.
Wow.
I was 186 or 188 in my graduating class. And, you know, a lot of people like, man, that's crazy. But, you know, for me, I thought it was funny. I didn't really care. But it wasn't funny when all my friends graduated and went on to Tuskegee, Hampton University, some of the top premier, Morehouse College. You know, so it was like, that was the moment for me. It was a tipping point. It was a moment when I had to get on the bus to catch the bus to Baltimore City Community College. And my buddy's like, yeah, just went to this party last night, met this girl from Boston, or, you know, I went to this party last night, I'm hanging out with the Qs, or I'm like, what's that? Because I'm on some local stuff. I'm like, yeah, I just got these new Timbs, and, you know.
So you weren't where they were mentally.
I weren't where they were at mentally.
Okay.
But the one thing I always tell a lot of young people is if you got positive peer pressure, that's a good thing. So my friends pushed me to get to where I was at. So, you know, shout out to Nick Mosby, my best friend, who was right there to say, hey, you can do anything you want to do. And he opened up an opportunity for me through a program called Inroads after my freshman year. And became an Inroads intern, where I interned with First Union National Bank, went on to intern with Kraft Foods, interned at Legg Mason. By the time I graduated, I was intern of the year, and Pfizer couldn't say no to that. I mean, I came with a resume.
So do you think you and I will be having this conversation right now if it wasn't for the presence of a good friend, positive peer pressure, and Nick Mosby?
No, I honestly don't. Like, I feel like every, you know, it's power of purpose. Like, you know, you have people in your life for different reasons. And that's one of the reasons why we became such good friends. Because it's moments like that where you realize, man, like, this is a good dude, this is a good brother, and you stick by people through their times. And, you know, it's times when I could tell you I was there for him like that. So it's like we did that for each other. You know, hey, man, did you finish up that paper? I know you went to that party, but did you know, what your grades look like? So that's positive peer pressure. Yeah, we talked about, you know, doing a lot of other things, but it always came back to, you know, hey, how many job offers you got right now? Who you interviewing with this week? Those type of things where some people were shy away from, you know, those positive things in your life. You know, as young black males, a lot of people not really pushing each other like that. So I don't know what it was. I mean, I'd say a lot of it is tribute to the fact that we went to Poly. You know, it was already a culture of excellence where, you know, we had stuff happen at Poly, but we all still strive to be great in all facets.
And I think, Brian, you touched on some extremely important things. And for the people out there watching, especially the young people, whether you're here locally in Baltimore, Maryland, or certainly in different parts of the country, I think, Brian, you hit, the nail right on the head when you talked about positive peer pressure. So many times we hear about negative peer pressure, but there are positive peer pressure circles. And the old saying is you are the sum of your 5 closest friends. So you definitely have to surround yourself with positive people that despite it all, you know, hey, Brian, you went to that party, but what's your GPA like? Did you turn in the paper? So, man, that's just extremely important that you have people in your circle constantly pushing you, in essence, to greatness.
Yeah, because, I mean, the ultimate goal at the end of the day was to you know, come out here and be able to make money, you know, and we knew the only way we was going to make money was by, you know, staying in school, getting good grades. You know, the whole time we had fun. You grew up in Baltimore City. I mean, you got a lot of different avenues you can look at. So once you make the conscious decision that I'm not going to hustle and I'm not going to sell drugs and I'm not going to be in the streets, you got to decide which lane you're going to go in. If you go that school lane, you can't play with it because there's plenty of people who graduated from college who, you know, got a college degree that's not really doing anything with their life. We know that that's, you know, in a certain sense, it's just a piece of paper, but it's all on how you market yourself. So, you know, for me, it was just like we pushed each other. You know, we talked about interviewing skills. We talked about a lot of different things to help each other get to that next level. Okay. And, you know, you could see some of those things with Nick on the campaign trail when he was running for mayor, because it's an actual, you know, it's no fear getting in front of the camera, getting in front of people, because we did this. We from Baltimore. At the end of the day, it always come back that we from Baltimore City. People say if you can make it anywhere, you can make it anywhere if you grew up in New York or out of New York. But I feel like that way with Baltimore.
Absolutely.
Baltimore's a tough city.
Very tough.
You know, when you've lost friends at such a young age and you've dealt with heartache and pain and, you know, in some cases PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder as a young man, it builds a certain level of character in you. Either
Absolutely.
you're going to sink or you're going to swim. And for guys like us, we decided we was going to swim. So, that's the same thing, in life. Whether, we closed on buying a house the same day.
Wow.
December 10th, 2004. We was 25 years old. It's like, let's buy a house.
Wow.
Where some people like, man, let's go buy another car. Or
let's go buy 12 bottles at the club.
Yeah.
Right.
And we was like pushing each other like, yeah, we know that in order to get to where we need to be, we're going to have to, own something.
So you mentioned the term sink or swim. When did you decide that you were going to swim into being this young, determined, hungry, aggressive entrepreneur that you are now? When did that kick in?
It was always there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I started in high school selling Lil Mike tapes right out of my locker. It was just always a hustle in me.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a legal hustle. And people hear the word hustler sometimes and they associate it with selling drugs. But hustler is just a spirit. It's a spirit that's inside of you. And whether it was standing outside my locker selling tapes for $5 or, selling T-shirts when I was in college. I remember getting a refund check, shipping Nick, 200-300 white tees. Like, I got these for the low, because I bought so many.
Right.
I got them for $2. We could sell them for $8, get money. So it's like when he come home, he got a wad of money to hand me.
Right.
But it was that type of hustle, I cut grass before. I had a landscaping business. I did all different types of businesses. We threw parties. I was in entertainment. I did happy hours. I did a lot of things just to always keep another stream of income coming in. Key to life is keep a bag coming. That's what Jay said, right? So it's like, at the time when I was starting my business, I was just looking to go back to school and get my MBA. So I was just like, man, I'm going to go back to school, get my MBA, because when I do start a business, I want it to be something that has some longevity. I didn't want to just, start cutting grass for another summer or selling another CD or tape or anything like that. It was like, I want to do something that has some longevity to it.
Some staying power.
Yeah.
So what school did you go to actually obtain your MBA?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not. I actually stumbled upon my business at that same time. And I had a good friend of mine. He has a PhD. Shout out to my man, Rashad. He was saying that, school is cool, but he was just saying, if you're going to pay $100,000 to get this MBA from University of Maryland, why not just take that $100,000 and invest in yourself? And
can you actually say that term again? Because I know a lot of people out there that are actually struggling, and they're struggling with the idea: can they actually make it on their own, and will they invest in themselves? A lot of things that I see on a daily basis, Brian. I know you see this, especially within the African American community. People will invest in every name and every brand possible, but they won't invest in themselves. So I just talk about the importance of you being where you are today because of different reasons, but one of them is you decided to invest in you.
Yeah, I mean, for whatever reason, I just always felt like I was going to be great. And I mean, I don't feel like I'm great right now. There's no arrogance or anything with me when it comes to that. But I still always walk around as if I'm where I picture myself being 20 years from now. Like I never ever felt like, if people know me, they'll never say, oh, I never met that guy. He held his head down or anything. Like, some people would take it as arrogance. I take it as confidence. I just was raised to always believe in myself. Having parents who supported anything that I did, whether it was on a baseball field, whether it was, in a classroom, anything that I did, I had a family structure that was right behind me. So it was like, like I tell my kids all the time, you wear that Henderson name, you wear it with pride, because it's, we've always been raised that we are better than, and it's not that I'm better than you. It's just an attitude of, we don't accept mediocrity. And that's when it's easy to bet on yourself, when you've had that instilled in you from a small child, from your father, anything that you did. When I was young, I couldn't understand it because it was always like, you're not working hard enough, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. But as a man, when it came down to it, we was talking before we went on air. When it's time to strap up, you do what you do. So if it was stay up till 3 a.m. last night and get my work done that I had to do for my 9 to 5, that's what I have to do. Because at the end of the day, if I can't keep my 9 to 5, creative culture is not going to sustain my lifestyle. But creative culture lifestyle is could one day be my 9 to 5. But right now, you got to take care of home before you start taking care of, what's out there on the side.
Is that your intent one day, to have creative culture as is what you're doing permanently as your mainstay?
That's an interesting question. Right now, I just wanted to take it wherever God wants it to go.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of doors have opened up. I mean, I reached out to Steve Harvey last night because I had been on Fox 45. Somebody said, "Hey,
Wow.
when you going on Steve Harvey?" I said to myself, I said, "I'm gonna go on Steve Harvey. Who knows?" So I sent the email right to the producer and just typed up my story. But I don't know where it's gonna go. I mean, at the end of the day, this could be an incubator for another business that I want to open. I have an entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, I may jump into real estate, buy a couple houses, flip them, may, open a car wash next year. I mean, but I want this to be the fuel to fund an audience and a vision. And, like I always, when I go Facebook Live, I say, build me an audience, because that's what I want to do, build an audience.
I like that term.
When you build an audience and people come around you and people follow you, you can do anything. But when you're successful, that's when people follow you. People
Absolutely.
don't follow people that's not successful.
Absolutely.
So as the success starts to grow, I see an increase in my business. It's people who may not have supported me in the beginning, but eventually they'll come around because you keep doing your thing. It's almost like sometimes, I was at the Poly City tailgate. It was a great feeling to look around and see the love and support for a number of people, even from City. My twin sister went to City. Shout out to City and my twin sister Bridget. But it was a lot of love where people said, I want to support you. They don't really care about the product. They want to support me. So when you look around and you see a sea of people and you see the hats that you've created, your logo, you see a number of people asking for your product, sold out, everything that I had.
What does that feel like?
It feels great. I mean, it feels great. But for me, it's so hard for me to accept it.
Why is that? It's an interesting point. Tell me why that is. Is it because you sound like that you saw it coming, so you visualize the success?
I visualize the success, but I still have like a fear of failure. That's what pushes me, like that fear of failure, like knowing that there's people out there betting against me. So in my mind,
feel like that?
Yeah, I feel like there's truly people out there that don't want to see you make it. Like it's people that
which is
like,
actually true.
I mean, I've had people, I walked into barbershops and talked to barbers, and they was like, "Man, I should have thought of that," right in your face. But it's just like,
wow,
that's cool. You should have thought of it, but I did, and my hustle was harder than yours. I know it's people out there doing what I'm doing right now, but my grind is so much stronger. People like, "Man, you got bags now. You got duffel bags. You got sweatshirts. You got T-shirts," and I'm like, and I got more stuff coming. So it's like my vision is so much bigger that I can't really accept just like, the small wins. I accept the small wins and I celebrate them by myself. I thank God all the time for every little win that I have, but I know that I can do so much more.
It's great.
So my fear of failure just pushes me to be great. Like I just can't accept in my mind that, oh, this is the pinnacle. Because to me, I expected to be here. That's like one of the things where people score touchdowns and they dance and, people like act like you've been there. So for me, I expected this. To you, I'm doing big things. To me, that's what I was supposed to do. That's what I was born to do.
So when you secure new ventures, visions for creative culture lifestyle, do you dance after you leave maybe a new barbershop and your products? And do you do like an end zone dance? Or you say, nah, man. Or do you just slam the ball down and say, man, I expect to be here?
No, it's just one of those things where it's like, it's just another, cap, just another feather in your cap where you just like check off, because some of this stuff is already written down. A lot of this stuff is already written down. When you have a plan and you have a vision, it's written down. It was already written down for me to go on Fox 45.
Were you studying my notes, man? Because that was one of the questions that I had.
Truth be told, real recognize real. So it's like, we're going to look familiar to each other and not knowing each other, because I can tell from the things that you're doing just the first time we spoke that it's just a certain things successful people do. So, I read some of the self-help books. I read some of the Maxwell, some of the different, Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I've read those
great books,
those things, and I've studied that. So it's like to get where you want to go, you got to study the greats. So you got to write stuff down, man. And I wrote a lot of this stuff down. So when I do it, to answer your question, I just check the box. And I mean, I do celebrate. Like I throw on, whatever that hot song is, right?
Right.
I had money way before the deal.
Right.
Something like that. It might be just relevant to that moment. Like, yeah, I felt like I had certain things before I even got here. Some people like, oh, you work another job? Nah, yeah, I've been. I mean, this is not the only thing that I do. You know, I've always been striving for different things and always, you know, have had nice things. So a lot of things don't really, you know, push me to be like overly excited.
One of the things, Brian, I just want to tell my viewing audience, obviously the name of the station is Power of Purpose Radio, and I just want you guys to understand and really grab onto what he's saying, because he's dropping some jewels tonight. And when you are walking in purpose, the things are actually there. Your level of success is there. You literally have to walk into it, and once you walk into it, you can simply check the box. But a lot of people, they're not going to put in that grind that you talk about. They don't want to stay up until 3 and work and then pop up, you know, at 6 o'clock, 3 hours later. They don't want to get there. But when people actually find your purpose, you literally can walk into your purpose and check the box. I mean, some things are already there. And I actually saw that via your social media page. And I said, wow, you were on one of the local stations here in Baltimore last week, had the phenomenal interview. And you said you actually saw that. That was part of the vision. You mentioned the term, excuse me, when I picture myself. So you already saw it. So what's the next big thing on your list that you see and you're close to checking it off as far as visualization?
Right now, just taking it one step at a time. You know, there's always the opportunity to go national with a retail chain, or, you know, getting a product in some type of, you know, some type of large chain or some type of big purchase order. You know, it might be somebody ordering 1,000 jars. It might be, I don't know what that looks like. I had the meeting with Ray Lewis and some investors that came in for the Baltimore 1000. You know, I was invited to that. I had the spotlight on Black Business Review. So these are all things that, you know, keep coming. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's all what God wants. I mean, it's not what Brian wants. You know, when you walking in your purpose and you live in a purpose-driven life, you just keep asking God to, you know, push you in the direction that you want to go. So when I make decisions or when I go to do anything, I pray about it first. And I feel like whatever happens at the end of the day, that's what was meant to be.
How influential, because you mentioned God quite a bit, how influential is God in your level of success? Because you mentioned that name quite a bit.
Oh, man, it's huge. You know, I did a lot of praying before I even started my business, and I always, you know, knew that I wanted to be a business owner because I always felt like I gave so much to the companies that I worked for, and it would get to a point where I would feel drained giving a company so much and then turn around and be laid off and, you know, get to a place where you don't feel that security that you should feel. You know, you give so much sweat equity to someone else, but then you don't pour that same sweat equity into yourself. So I always, you know, told God that if I got in this position, you know, God, give me the strength, just give me the health and strength to do what I need to do. I'll do the rest. You know, so it's like all I ask is that you just wake me up, keep me healthy, and I'm a grind.
Wow.
So, you know, the late nights, early mornings, you know, taking care of my 3 girls, that's what keeps me going. You know, I got 3 little girls that I have, and you know, that's my motivation right there. When they see me grinding and they see me out running around for my business, I know that subconsciously I'm creating a grind inside of them that they don't even realize is going to be there. One day they'll be older and say, I remember we was running around that summer, and, you know, they wake up and they say, Dad, you know, give me some beard butter, you know, and they like, oh, yeah, you know, I like, you know, when we out somewhere, they see somebody with a beard, like, Daddy, tell them about beard butter. So it's like, you know, it's great because they're learning marketing. They're learning business things, you know. So that's the motivation, man. That's what it is.
Man, you definitely dropping some jewels, because as a father with twins, myself, twin girls, they are actually learning your hustle in an indirect manner. So in essence, what you're doing is, and I'm sure you already know this, but you're probably helping break the cycle of generational poverty that exists in a lot of communities, and instilling that entrepreneurial spirit within them, man. So you definitely are doing something great.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, I credit my upbringing. You know, I was telling somebody the other day, like, too long, we almost like down people for coming from a 2-parent home. You know, I know my father broke that cycle in his family, and he worked hard to do that. So for me, you know, I don't have a 2-parent home situation for my kids, but I still want to make sure that, you know, there's a good working relationship, and, you know, I do the right thing as a dad. You know, my kids 50-50. I can't go without being with my kids. So it's like, having that situation and trying to make sure that, you still keep the relationships tight. It's not always going to be the best of things, but
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, you want to give your kids what you had. And that's all I want to do is just be a great father and just support them in everything that they do, and know that they always know that my dad is a phone call away, or he's, right there anytime I need him.
Man, I could sense it in your entrepreneurial spirit. I'm telling you, man, you giving them probably more than what they could even ask for at this young age. So maybe when they get older, maybe they have the next line of, maybe female products. So maybe you guys are going into business together. So, man, you're definitely doing something phenomenal. So, man, let's go ahead and jump into the products. You have some products here today. I definitely would be remiss if we ended the show and we didn't actually you tell people about the products that you have, because I am telling you, not only is he a guest, but I've actually, before we even talked about actually being on the show, I used some of the products, phenomenal, and that's why my beard is actually glowing now. Look at it, check it out. I feel like I could do a commercial for you, man, or something. My beard is like glowing.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. No, but really, thanks for your support, and that's truly how we met.
Mm-hmm.
You found my business online, and that's just a credit to social media.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we got a platform right in front of us.
Absolutely.
Some people use that platform for the wrong things. They want to use it, just to post negative things. For me, I was a funny guy.
Mm-hmm.
I go on social media and make people laugh. There's too much going on in the world for people not to laugh. So sometimes you see my private page, it might be like, "You're a little crazy."
Mm-hmm.
But that was all by design, to put a smile on people's faces
Mm-hmm.
and not take the world so serious. But I knew always that if I ever started a business, I was going to be a monster with the social media, because I'm like, it's a platform.
Absolutely.
You gotta use it. How is it that I can touch a guy in Houston, Texas, and he orders my product? Easy. He clicked that
Mm-hmm.
button and he double tap, or he see a hashtag. So you see me hashtagging everything,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what it connects. And shout out to Sarita. She runs my Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
She's had a very successful business, the NFL chick, blogging for football,
Mm-hmm.
and she has a big following on Twitter. And I said, I want you on the team. I can't do it all, but if you surround yourself with people who are good at what they do, and you find people's
Mm-hmm.
strengths, it's easy. So to jump right into the products, Creative Culture Beard Butter. It's a shea butter whipped up with coconut oil, olive oil, jojoba oil, all the essential oils you need, palm oil, fragrance oil, the sandalwood. That's the favorite.
Mm.
That's the one right there.
That's the winner.
They all are. I don't want to discount any of the other ones, but that's the one that sells more than any other one. So it's a lighter smell,
Mm-hmm.
but then there's the frankincense and myrrh. A lot of guys who are Muslim, or a lot of guys who like a stronger scent. Actually, Mosby, that's his favorite. The frankincense and myrrh.
And that's what I purchased, man. That is dynamite. That was a winner.
And it's all personal preference, and that's
Mm-hmm.
the cool thing about it, because some people are like, "No, I like this," I like that, and then I have unscented for
Mm-hmm.
guys who just don't want any scent.
Mm. Okay.
And then we go from the beard butter to 2 new products that I just launched 2 weeks ago. A friend of mine just kept saying, "Man, you got to get a soap, you got to get a shampoo," and I was like, "Nah, it's too early for that. Maybe next year. I'm not sure if I want to add all of that."
Mm-hmm.
And the opportunity presented itself, and I added an unscented soap,
Okay.
which has the olive oil, coconut oil, and some of the different ingredients in it to keep everything all natural. All the products are all natural.
Mm.
You're putting something on your face, you're putting something in your beard. All of these things have the potential. Any type of beard butter or beard cream or oils you put on your face has the ability to be pore clogging.
Mm-hmm.
So you want something that's going to clean that out. So that's what the
Gotcha.
soap does. Comes in, cleans that out, give you a nice fresh feeling. You can actually feel it when you're in the shower. Same thing with the beard shampoo. The same types of ingredients. The only thing that beard shampoo has in it that the soap doesn't is the castor oil. The castor oil actually works where your follicles are and helps strengthen the hair.
Mm.
So you got your strength for the hair, you got your shine, you got your sheen, you got everything that you need in all of these products to keep a healthy beard and to grow healthy hair. So there's a woman out there right now has natural hair and was like, "Yeah, that's good stuff." Oh yeah, that's good stuff. That's what I use in my hair.
Gotcha.
And she like, "Yeah, that's that good stuff." So the juices and berries, and then we have
juices and berries. I like it.
The custom beard combs. So this is just a wood comb where I add my logo to it. And that's why I call it custom because I add my logo to it. That's what makes it custom. But it's just a wood comb. It's a nice piece to have. Every man should have his own comb, something that he's proud to pull out of his pocket, not the comb that he stole from his fiance or the comb that he paid $2 for at
But what about the comb that he took from his uncle and you got like this on it?
Yeah,
So he needs the creative culture comb.
It's just a nice piece to have. And the most interesting thing is a lot of my products are purchased by women. I would say about 70% of my products are purchased by women.
Interesting.
When women buy, they buy online more than men. And you got to love our women. African-American women are just the best. Shout out to my female, my lady.
Absolutely. There's nothing like them.
They hold us down. When you got a good woman in your life, they hold you down. They shop for you. It's not, they trying to buy you anything, but they look out for you. And I had plenty of women call me, say, he needs the comb, he needs the butter, he needs the shampoo. He got to take care of this beard.
Wow.
So that's what women do. Dudes, they be like, man, just give me one butter. I'm going to try you out. And you want to
very reluctant.
You want to trial basis.
Right, very reluctant.
That's how it goes. So
right.
At the end of the day, I know how it go. Here lately, since I launched the soap and the shampoo in the last 2 weeks, I've been just throwing in free shampoos and free soaps to people.
Wow.
Just so that they could try it out. And
gotcha.
At the end of the day, we making beards better. Donald Trump talking about making America great again. I just want to make beards great. That's what it's all about. So,
I love it. So
this is actually your gift. This is your birthday gift. I'm leaving this here with you.
Man, I appreciate
your 39th birthday.
Man, I definitely appreciate it.
I appreciate you opening me up to your market, man.
So if somebody wanted to get this as a package, where could they go out online? Give people your social media information. So how could they follow Brian Henderson and get these amazing products that you currently have?
Well, if you're on Facebook or Instagram, Creative Culture Lifestyle, just follow the page, like the page. And that'll take you right to the website, creativeculturelifestyle.com. Everything is Creative Culture Lifestyle. On Twitter, we're CCL Beard Butter.
So obviously he's modeling the shirt for you. There's hats. I see you have the bracelets. Show the people the bracelets.
I mean, you got bracelets.
These
you got
products.
Hats, you got T-shirts. You got everything.
So from A to Z, the bearded brother, you got him covered.
The bearded brother and the sisters who like beards. We got the I Love Beards hat. We got the floral hat, which is a unisex hat. The hat was hot. It's just a floral hat with a little yellow, a little pink, a little purple. And, I mean, it was a hat, the first hat that I made.
Okay.
And I can't keep it. I mean, I've sold so many of these hats that I had to add it back. It was just going to be an opening item that was going to be an exclusive, and it sold out in 4 hours when I posted it online.
So you definitely had to bring that back.
Oh yeah, I had to bring it back, and it sold out again, and it sold out again, and it sold out again. And actually today it sold out again. So I just have to keep making it. I mean, at the end of the day, you gotta get the people what they want. I wanted it to be exclusive, but my business mind is saying
the demand told you otherwise.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So shout out to everybody who got in on the ground level and thought it was going to be exclusive. I apologize. You might see somebody else with the hat on that you like, but at the end of the day, they all supporting a good cause. They supporting the business, and that's another thing I want to touch on real quick is that a lot of people will be negative and say Baltimore is known for its crabs because we're a city with a lot of crabs in the borough, and that's not true. Baltimore has supported me in a lot of different ways, and that goes back to the people you surround yourself with.
Absolutely.
I like to say sometimes we live in two different Baltimores. I'm not from that world where you do dirt and you live grimy. When you do dirt and you play in the dirt, you get dirty. But when you do good and you give it out, people support you unwillingly. I got people who buy stuff from me and they're like, I get it from you whenever. I just wanted to support you.
It comes back tenfold.
It comes back.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a testament to our city. I want to get rid of that misperception that we don't support. That's not true. Baltimore supports. I couldn't ship when I first came out. That's how we met. I met you and I said, I'll be shipping in about a week or two. But that's what I was doing. I was out hustling, grinding, riding around, meeting people every which place because I wanted to get my product out. But, the barbershops, the barbers, the people supported. And those people who didn't know me from anywhere. But it came from Instagram share or Facebook post, if you share the Facebook post and you never bought a product, you support it. That's what I mean by support. It's not always monetary. It's not always somebody putting money in your pocket. Sometimes support comes in different forms. If
Absolutely.
you told a coworker, everybody doesn't have a beard. Everybody doesn't have the wherewithal to buy a hat. There was times when I wanted to support local entrepreneurs, and I'm like 25 right now. It's tight. Like, I just don't have it. Might catch you later, Jack.
Right.
You might not get around to it. So I don't take it personal when somebody say, I got you, and then they don't get to it. I mean, like I said, we're going to be here. We're going to keep working. There'll be plenty of times to support. But for those who have supported and in whatever way that you've done, I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate it.
Brian, we're about to wrap up, and I do this with all of my guests, man. Are you ready? This is what I call rapid fire. Are you ready?
Sure, whatever it is.
So I will throw out some topics.
Okay.
Maybe I want you to finish a sentence. You never know which angle I'm gonna kind of take it at the end, and I just want the fastest response that comes to your mind. Are you ready for this one?
It's PG-13.
No, this is cool. The Baltimore Ravens will do what in Dallas this week? Because I know you're a huge Ravens fan. I see the post, and I'm not a Ravens fan, so I just want to see where you at.
I'm a big Ravens fan. Shout out to T. West. He uses the product. Jimmy Smith, he uses the product. We will win. I will be in the building. We will win. And I already got the bets out there to back it up. The money is down. I got cigars on the line. Hey, we going to win. We going to Dallas, and we going to win. We going to do what we do.
So normally when I do rapid fire and one of my guests makes a statement, I kind of go into the next one. But I'm a diehard Philadelphia Eagles fan. So we will win.
For you.
Is that an exclamation point or is that a comma? Should that be continued? How should I take that?
Exclamation point.
Okay.
I will come back on at another time.
Okay.
And I will make sure that you know that we took home the win.
We'll kind of leave that there. Ravens fans, they have a different view of football. But nonetheless, a goatee.
Not a beard.
A regular mustache.
Not a beard.
Brian Henderson will be where in 5 years?
Still pursuing excellence. Never going to settle. No matter how big I get, no matter how small I am, just going to keep pursuing excellence no matter what ups, downs, anything that come.
One last time for the viewers out there, go ahead and give them your information again. Social media, I know that is huge, and the reason why I'm asking you to give it again, I actually found your product online because of the way you market and promote and just who you're affiliated with and your network and how you out there grinding. So give it to the people again.
Brian Henderson, a.k.a. Mr. Fox 45. Shout out to Young Cheek, a.k.a. Young Billy D. But creativeculturelifestyle.com, Creative Culture Lifestyle on IG, Creative Culture Lifestyle on Facebook. And more importantly, I have the contact information right there in the bio, in the link. Feel free, call me. This is what I do. Service, customer satisfaction. When I field a call and somebody say, tell me about your beer products, it's cool. Like that's why I have the number listed. I believe too many businesses don't want to work. I want to work. Let me work for you. Let me talk to you. Let me hustle you. Because if you get me on the phone, I'm gonna sell you more stuff than what you planned on buying.
Wow. So from the viewers out there, this has been another edition of the Rashad Mills Show. Before we actually conclude, I want to just go back and make sure that you are familiar with the takeaways that Brian Henderson gave us. Number one, surround yourself with positive people. There is a such thing as positive peer pressure. In addition to that, he talked about his visualization. And then the last, but maybe the most important point, he talked about his connection with God. I tell you guys every week to know that it's something bigger and greater than yourself. You can catch me every week, every Friday. I give you happy hour, motivation and inspiration. Rashad Bowtie Mills, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Please visit my website, rashadmills.com. If you need me to be at an event, I'll be there. And once I'm there, man, I know my bow tie is going to be sharp and my beard is going to be looking good. And with that being said, I will see you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you, man.
No problem, man. Thanks a lot.
Man, you're a cool dude. What's up with these Ravens, man?
What's up with them Eagles, man?